Thanks so much for joining us. This is MeWe Fairs for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and many online. Today is our Online Awakening panel. We've got a series of events today. It's great to get started with each other in the morning. Today's theme for our Awakening panel is mindfulness and meditation to reach higher spiritual planes. There are 6 of us on the panel today. One of us will be arriving shortly. We'll be sharing about who we are, chatting about the theme, and then taking questions from the audience. It is free to be here, to listen and learn, to ground and presence, to expand your intuition, and a small prize to ask a question of the panel. I'll be putting some information in the chat again in a moment while you get to know the practitioners that are here today on the panel. All right, well, let's see. So Henry, does it work for you to start off again and go first? Okay, great. Take a couple minutes or so, and if you go over, I'll just, for everybody, I'll just let you know to just finish up. Go ahead and finish up wherever you are. And we'll have a chance to come back and share more. Hey, Henry. Let's get you unmuted. And part of meditation and mindfulness is play.
Yeah, years and years and still don't know about the mute button. Oh boy, that's so cute. So, all right. Well, now that I'm unmuted, I can proceed. So I'm Henry India Holden with Holden Metaphysical Consultancy. And you can reach me there at Holden Metaphysical Consultancy or at henryindiaholden.com. And I am a trained life coach, tarotist, peer counselor, Reiki master, and also an ordained minister since 2013. And I'm the creator of the Mystics Tarot and Oracle cards and the Earth Grounding Journal. And it's just a pleasure to be here. For me, it's morning, and that's unusual, and I'm loving it. And whatever time it is for you, I hope that you are ready to go and just enjoy today and get enlightenment as much as you can. And so, I know you came to this MeWe because you yearn for a higher spiritual plane, and so many of us do. So let me ask you, what is your personal reason? Do you want to explore this as a subject? Do you need healing from the battles of life, grow in self-realization? Or is it because you feel called to the God of your heart by an inner knowing, or maybe all of those? And really, whatever your answer is, they're all valid, and today can help you begin this journey or help you along on your journey to reach a higher spiritual realm. So, imagine you're like, I've been there and I go there regularly. So what I can say about it is, like, imagine this really sweet and whole and safe space, and you're enveloped in a loving embrace, and there's this profound sense of peace, and you just feel like all is well and all will be well, and this space can restore you. And that's what I call the luminous dark, which is kind of like an oxymoron, but it seems higher realities like that. It's dark and yet luminous, featureless yet full. And so it's really as close as I can come to experiencing God or the higher plane of existence. It's unitive and ineffable and transcendent and just infinite love. And all of this is available through practices that allow you to reach this higher plane. So now, how can you do that, though? How can you reach that? How can you get to this freer feeling, this being less reactive, which is one of the outcomes, and just what I love so much, being less enthralled to the worldly things? So there are many different ways to reach that, and different kinds of meditation. And so I want to leave you with one of the several exercises that I teach clients to help reach that higher spiritual plane. And this is called the God-gazing meditation. So, like we say that the eyes are the window to the soul. So we can do it right now. And so you can hold a mirror in front of you when you do it on a daily basis, if you will. But you can also do it right now and just gaze into the camera and just smile at yourself. And just see yourself and say, I see you. And maybe if you're comfortable, you can say, I see the divine spark in you. I see the God in you. Just be with that and try not to break the eye contact. Or if you break it, return to the eyes. It's very intimate, but reaching the higher spiritual plane is a very intimate process. And being in the higher spiritual realm, I would say intimacy and love are probably the two main features of that: connectedness, intimacy, and love. So I love helping people like all of us practitioners here do. And so if you want to share what your experience is when you do the God gazing meditation, you can always reach me at henry@henryhello.com. And thank you so much for spending this moment with me. And I look forward to all of us being together here today and advancing our souls. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Henry. And let's introduce ourselves in a similar way that Henry did, where let's take our time so everyone you feel more spaciousness as you introduce yourself, and feel free to talk about the theme while you introduce you. I didn't clarify that today, so I think that's a lovely thing to do today. Great. So who wants to go next? Drasmin, did you want to go next? Or... Okay, let's get you unmuted. I muted everyone at one point.
Hi, everyone. Blessings. So many of us tuning in today. This is the first few hours of the day. So before I go into who I am and what I do and all the wonderful things that I am, I want to tap into you for a moment. So I invite you to take a breath in and a breath out. Okay. And on this next inhale, really coming into the body. Exhale, dropping in. I'm going to give you a little sample of a practice that I share often. And on this next inhale, imagine rosebuds at the base of your feet. And on the exhale, the rosebuds open and roots come out into the earth. Inhale, open. Exhale, roots drop down into the earth. A couple of breaths here as you just allow yourself to feel breath, opening your lungs, opening your heart, bringing you deeper into presence, and your roots connecting you deeper and deeper into the earth. Inhale and exhale. And when we are going into any kind of inner stillness, inner meditation, it is so important to be grounded in the body, in the present moment, because all of these wisdoms that we access in meditation, in the higher planes, it needs to come into the physical body and it needs to be sustained within that. So the rosebud roots is a way to open that connection to the earth, be connected with the root systems of Mother Earth, my root systems, the roots of your ancestors, the roots of all of life. And I always like to see the lower part of the body as the trunk of your tree, shall we say, and then the heart is where you're receiving all the messages. It's like the engine that's connecting the lower and the upper, and then the upper body and the hands, you know, if you feel called to raise them and wiggle your fingers, those are your limbs and your branches, and just bringing that energy into the body. Hands down, rub the palms together and just place that on your crown and really ground that energy into the body. Inhale and feel yourself expand even more. Feel the space that you occupy. And that space is made for you. Take up that room. Yes, move your body, move that upper body and just bringing that energy into you, hands together, placing them on your eyes, softly cradling that beautiful face, maybe a little smile to see how that feels in your body and the breath. And then gently placing a hand to the hands on the heart and just feeling that breath. Inhale, open, soften, and expand. Exhale, dropping into the body. And on this next inhale, we're going to close the rosebuds. Exhale, taking a moment here to just settle into the stillness of your presence, of your being. This is your innate state of peace. This is your natural state before all the stuff of everything comes in. Inhale, returning fully into the present moment. Wiggle toes, wiggle fingers to come online. Open your eyes, look around you, maybe take a sip of your yummy drink or water. And thank you. Thank you so much for joining me into that little sneak peek there. So thank you so much for choosing to be here today, whether you're live or you're catching the replay. Thank you, Laureli, again, for holding this container to all the powerful, like-minded leaders. I love that we are all women here. It's so exciting to see the women rising, to see the women leaders rising. So blessed to be here. So I am Drasmin. Excuse me. I am an artist, I'm a writer, I am a prayer form dancer, a soul purpose activator, a trauma-informed empowerment coach, a multidimensional sound healer, and a shamanic guide. I offer Reiki and tarot sessions live over Zoom as well as in person, and I have a very special pricing right now through July, 70% off my sessions. I also create self-guided, downloadable content that is self-paced for you to empower your being experience, as well as hands-on coaching intensives, about 3 months long, to shift you from surviving to thriving in mind, heart, body, spirit, so that you can step fully into your most authentic, aligned self. I also create spiritual poetry art and have a published book of meditation poetry. I want to talk a little bit about my meditation book, and I don't have a copy on my desk. Maybe I'll go grab it to share later. But this meditation poetry book, I co-created it with the support of Archangel Metatron. It is a labor of love. I just hit the 1-year mark last week of its publication date, but it is a collection of 33 8-line poems designed to activate power within you. So it has 33 power words with 8-line poems. I hand printed it, sewed it together so that there's a limited number of copies of that, if that feels inspiring to you. And I work with all beings, yet I am more attracted and aligned with those who are highly sensitive, neurodivergent, on the autism spectrum, and along those categories, because I am a very highly sensitive being myself. And a lot of my work has been mostly kind of like figuring out how to be an empowered, embodied leader within myself. And then over time, so many people were like, you need to teach this, you need to share this information. So leadership isn't something that I actively sought out. It came to me. And I have been in this process for the last few years of just embracing that and showing up, as my authentic self to my best ability. So my tarot readings are arranged from casual checking in, what's going on, what's blocking me from just like being at peace in my everyday life, to deep dive, past life integrations, bringing those wisdoms in and removing the poisons and integrating the lessons so that you can align more into your power. And that's part of accessing the higher planes. Sometimes we talk about accessing the higher planes and the mind goes, oh, I'm going to Lemuria or, Orion, and you can absolutely astral travel to the different galaxies in meditation, but the most sacred, highest plane that you can tap into is within, because as within, so without. All that we seek is within, and all of the resources outside are just additional boosts, shall we say, to what you already have within you. My Reiki sessions also range from chakra balancing, alignment and attunement, to deep DNA body recalibration, light body activation, activating your soul gifts. And something that I offer with my sessions is I offer support in dreaming. I'm an active lucid dreamer. I've been active lucidly dreaming for 7 years now, and I'm connected with dreaming circles around the world. And so I support you in dreaming during your integration phase, whether that's anywhere from 7 7 days, or if you're in my coaching program, during the entire coaching program, to really provide that energetic container and hold you within that as you are going through your deep integration and transformation experience. So yeah, that's all I have to share at this time. Oh, where you can find me on Facebook, Aleph Drasmin, and all my links are in my bio. My website is ddom spa.com. That's more my artist website, but you can connect with me through there. And yeah, that's all I have to share. So another sip of water. Thank you so much for hearing me go off on my little spiel there, and thank you for being here. Love and blessings.
Great. Thank you so much for that entry. And I want to include too that we are women and non-binary people. At least 2 of us on the panel are non-binary. Yeah, the range of all of us that show up for this. Great. All right. Well, let's see. So DoveLight, did you want to dive in next? Come to the surface.
Oh yes, I'm just taking a moment to just feel the gratitude, because it's sometimes you will hear me or see me stopping just to breathe, and that's automatically I do that a lot when now that you guys can see my face now more than used to. It's just because the spirits guide me to go back to the self, and I could not agree anymore with what everyone is sharing. In the shamanic perspective, like all the birds, we can observe that all the birds need at least 1 strong feet in order to fly. If a bird doesn't have a strong feet to sustain themselves to take the impulse, it will never be able to fly. So this is important to be grounded in order to go to the higher realms. I genuinely feel the meditation can save your life. If you don't remember all the words that everybody's saying, if you don't remember the technique, if you genuinely are very caught up in your mind, you will always have a gift from the divine that is always with you. It's your breath. It's the ability to breathe that we take for granted sometimes. This breath, the air that is circulating at this moment, was here before you were born. It's the same air that our ancestors in the beginning of creation on earth breath is just moving. And it's the same air that your descendants and the many thousands descendants will breathe. It's going in circle, it's flowing. If anything, please always go back to your breathing, always go back to your center. And I personally feel that you have this gift. In my case, I can say that I was running away from meditation because there is so many ways that people say you are supposed to meditate. But at the end of the day, we are different. We're all unique. Our energy system works different. So I realized that as long as you find something that works for you, that includes Afena is talking. Afina, thank you. As long as you include something that will help you to go back to your center, whatever that might be, you will be okay. You will be fine. It can help you to just breathe. So when we go to sleep, our soul it's returning to the divine. Always connected to the body, but it's returning to the divine. But the human body is resting. You know, it's recharging, it's rejuvenating. So our soul go back to the source. Sometimes we don't remember our days, but we all definitely dream. But the same thing is in meditation. When you're consciously active, allow a space to go back to source, whatever that source may be for you. So my name is DoveLight, and all my sessions, I always start with grounding. I always start with breathing and prayer. I do love reading. I do love the connection that we have with the divine. I love the perspective and the insight that they can give you that sometimes go beyond our wildest dream. Like they have so much information that they're very beloved to grant us. And sometimes they genuinely want to help us. We just need to ask for help. So my readings involve connection to the divine. And I wasn't also actively, as many of you knows, to become public or to help other people like in this type of platform. It was something that happened while one of my elders had to have a surgery, and I decided to volunteer, and that led me to the next thing, and the next thing led me to the next thing. So most of the things that I offer are for are things that I passed myself, and I'm still working on it. Like past life regression was a huge deal for me since I was a kid. I always dreamed with my past life in this planet, in the other dimensions, in the realms in the between. I didn't have a guidance, and through working myself and learning from people that I admire, such as Dr. Brian Weiss, I was able to get enough info or an experience to help others if they were needed to. Ancestral healing, there is the concept of oneness, and sometimes our soul came to heal a part of ourselves. They might heal the ancestral, the karmic, but in the human realm, sometimes we can take too much. Generally, we can take too much more than what our soul agreement, and sometimes we just need to balance the order. And this is why sometimes things that we are meant to be healing for ancestors are affecting us without we consciously realizing. Some shamanic techniques that I do, it's like light of the soul retrieval. When something traumatic or heavy past happen in your life, a piece of your soul of your life leave your body, and there is like an imprint energy in your body that kind of remember, kind of aware, but it's not completely whole. So we go to the astral, to the other dimensions, and bring it in. And also también compassionate cut cutting, no, compassionate clearing of the course, when sometimes you just need to clear the course. We are one, but sometimes it's time to move on or to change the energy of the situation. So that's when we can do clearing course. Also, Vogel One Crystal, which is one of my favorite techniques to do. It was done by Dr. Marcel Vogel. He is the one who made the first chip for the computers, and he is the one who invented fluorescent light. But he wanted to do something more for humanity. He just wanted to be more involved into healing, and this is how he came up with this Vogel One crystal, which has a specific code that affects the crystal within the body, in the crystal light body. And through those two, with the proper technique, you can actually remove things from the light body that you could not do it just with Reiki or just with any other technique. It actually helps you to extract the root cause of the things. Even if you are not aware what exactly it is, it can help you take it out of your energy field, transform it, and move it forward. I do love shamanism. I genuinely feel that we came here not only to separate the mundane from the spiritual, it's actually living spiritually mindful when the mundane become blessed and become with more soul. And yeah, and those are the things that I do. But all of my healing, all of my readings are always involving prayer, grounding, meditation. And what I'm explaining is just a little bit of the tiny things that the spirits and the angels and your ancestors might come up, because it always they always surprise us with the information they bring or the healing that they would like us to do. So that's pretty much a little bit of my intro and what I do. Now I'm going to pass it to the next person.
Thanks so much, DoveLight. And maybe one other thing, did you want to mention just your special? I don't remember if you mentioned your special.
Oh, yes, please. I do love readings because I love connecting to the other side. Everything that I work is always angelic involved, the divine involved, and your spirit guides and whoever will love to come for your highest good. And so today my special is the code SUMMER, where you can have 20% discount one reading with me. We read the tarot, but well, it's not only the tarot. When I hear your voice, I'm picking up the frequency of your soul, because your soul is very unique. It's the blueprint unique to you. So from there, I start getting the information that is for your highest good to have at the moment. You can also use the coupon to get a past life regression, ancestral healing, any shamanic session of choice. I also do work with the voice because I lost my voice for many years, and it took me a journey to recover my voice. And yeah, any session of choice or any reading, you can use the code SUMMER. Yeah, I would love to help you if you feel called to, if you resonate with my readings. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Also, I just learned that Henry had an emergency. They'll be back. So those of you that, Henry just popped off and Henry will be back. All right. And part of meditation and mindfulness is being present to what's in the moment, what really wants our attention right now. So I appreciate Henry following that. Stacey.
Hello and good morning or good afternoon, wherever you may be on the planet at this time. Yeah, I'm going to invite everyone. It's been mentioned already before by one of the other practitioners to take a deep sip of water or whatever you've got. And the reason that I suggest this is because sound moves through water at a faster pace than it does through air. And when we're hydrated, that sound can much more easily move through our body, and we can assimilate that sound and that vibration. So I want to invite you to give yourself the gift of a deep cleansing breath. And you can gently close your eyes if that feels right to you. And we're going to connect with water in some other ways as well. And if you can easily imagine the following scenes while you continue to breathe in and out, slowly and calmly. And see yourself relaxing near a beautiful, calm lake. And the breeze is softly blowing over the lake. And you watch the thousands of ripples that it's creating on the surface of the water. Your surroundings are just calm and pleasant, bringing you a feeling of complete peace. Just feel this calm feeling wash over your entire body and mind. Imagine yourself deeply breathing in the sound of the bowls. And imagine that peacefulness filling your entire body as you inhale. And know that you're in full control of your mind and body. Know that your mind and mindfulness is your greatest asset and your best tool. Give yourself another deep breath. And allow the good feelings and the vibrations fill your heart, your mind, and your body. You can open your eyes when you're ready. And as Drasmin is doing, stretch fully. So yeah, sound is one of the ways and one of the tools that we can utilize to get ourselves into a relaxed and meditative state really quickly, which is a beautiful thing, especially for folks who have trouble quieting their mind. If you're one of those people, as I tend to be as well, you're processing a lot, your mind races, a little bit on that spectrum where I'm easily distracted. This is a beautiful tool to help us slow down the nervous system, create more of the beta and alpha wave, not the beta, the alpha, the alpha waves. We're mostly in beta when we're processing and we're awake. But if we can slow down the brain waves with vibration, then we're able to create more alpha waves, and it allows us to become more responsive rather than reactive to our lives as things inevitably will come to us that can be a source of stress or anxiety. So in doing this, we allow ourselves to quickly, that vibration and those tones can lower the brainwave states, help us to breathe more easily and be more mindful. It's a great meditation tool, and it has certainly helped me a lot in my life. We all know how music, certain kinds of music, can really stir us up or make us feel agitated, where other kinds of music and sounds can make us feel very peaceful and calm. So this is where we can really tap into our ability to slow down, to be mindful, to get into a state of meditation quickly and easily. So this is the work that I'm really focused on doing now. And I really am focused to help others to overcome some of those really, kind of wound up anxious states, and to be, give yourself the gift of being more slow it down, instead of go, 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 go all the time, as we're so very prone to do. And I don't know if anybody, oh, good one. There's a channel on YouTube too that Drasmin is suggesting. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff out there. If you look into cymatics, there's so much, so much about how vibration affects us. And also, one example that I like to use a lot too is Dr. Emoto's work as well. And the messages and hidden messages in water, and how words and sounds affect water. And we as human beings, we are mostly made of water. So if we're hydrated and we are, taking care of ourselves in that way, creating that self-care habit, then the words that we use with each other, the way we communicate, the things that we take in terms of media and sound and messages have a real effect on us and our overall health. So that's really all I have here this morning. I didn't know how much longer you wanted me to go, but I love it that you are all here, and you're giving yourself the gift of creating some tools and some ways to help yourself be more mindful and more peaceful. So I wish you peace going forward as well.
I particularly was going to suggest you use the word cymatics, that a lot of people might not know what it means, even though you talked around all kinds of different things about it.
Yeah, I can
Share a
type
little
it in
more.
here. Yeah, so Hans Jenny was the gentleman who coined the term cymatics, and he studied, the vibration and the phenomenon of vibration and how it affects matter. And what he would do is, it was interesting, he would have a plate, a metal plate, and he did experiments with piles of sand or pastes and different kinds of materials that he would put on that plate, and then he would introduce different vibrations. And it was so very interesting, because what would happen is, with just a pile of paste or a pile of sand, as he introduced certain vibrations, they would get into order and they would create really beautiful geometric patterns. And it is so, so, so amazing, because it's also similar to what Dr. Masaru Emoto did too with water, is that it would create specific, perfect geometric patterns that would interestingly mimic nature. So we love that, because you know how life imitates nature, and nature is so perfect, and it's inherently perfect, as are we in our bodies. And if we just are able to tap into that, I find it to be so powerful. His experiments with water, Dr. Masaru Emoto, I just put that in the chat, and then Dr. Hans Jenny with cymatics. I'm typing that one in there too. Yeah, retreat. I'm with you, Monica. I so want to have a retreat of sound healers and people such as the ones on the panel today, to be able to come together. I love that. There you go. Thanks, Laureli.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is a video I enjoy watching. Cymatics.
It's so interesting how it just creates these either concentric circles, like with pastes, or with sand. It would move into these just gorgeous little, almost yin and yang kinds of looking patterns. Just amazing.
All right, thank you. And you mentioned your specials, I think, yes?
Yeah, so I think we dropped it into the chat here. I do offer 20% off of a full 1 hour on your first visit. I can do it either in person or online. I do a lot of online work now, which has been just really amazing for people. And you experienced a little bit of it here with a little short meditation that we did. And I'm starting to host some group meditations that people can come in at, and create. We can create a good 30-minute meditation together, if you just need to come in and do it quick and dirty, as we say.
Great, thank you.
Or
And I
quick and
think
clean.
I'm the one that's left to introduce. I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, and matchmaker. And I'm really the host. I'm more the host of this panel than I am on the panel in some ways. I always had a fight with meditation. Never liked to do it. I wanted to be in movement and active. And so I had to have meditation and mindfulness sort of sneak in the back door for me. So one way that I didn't realize that I was meditating years ago is I was so fascinated by pottery and ceramics, and throwing pottery on the wheel is totally a meditation. So for me, meditation is when I'm in a state of flow, and it's where, like with Stacey's, I have this spacious awareness of openness, and there's nothing particularly present for me. And with ceramics, it's a hyper focus, and nothing else is present for me except just that. And it's particularly because if you haven't thrown before, and it's great for me that it was about body, because all of my approaches in really are about body. Any way that I'm not fully present in my body shows up as wonkiness and asymmetry in the clay. It is so sensitive to everything. So I have to have such awareness and exquisite and fine control, but presence really in my body, in order to throw thin, tall, anything in ceramics, and even just the simplest things of centering. Centering the clay, that's getting it initially centered in it before making a shape. Anything that's not in alignment and in flow in my body shows up as the clay being acentered. So that was my first way in, and that was long, long ago. Yeah, and someone mentioned, oh yeah, auditory and kinesthetic. It makes sense. Yeah, so all the different ways we pick things up. So my ways have been particularly through the body. Definitely breath is one of the ways. And it was only after, a good couple years or more practicing a meditation from a teacher that suddenly one day went, hey, this is a meditation. And the teacher's like, yeah. So yeah, I had to have it where I didn't know what I was doing to get in there. So I say my body psychology work really is what encompasses all these things. And I want to mention too, so being in nature is one of the ways that I can get into this place of, pottery retreat. It's great. My partner and I both happen to have wheels and kilns. So yeah, we totally could have, right, a centering meditation retreat out here. Being in nature, if I can allow my awareness to only go to what I experience in nature, what I'm noticing around me, the sounds of nature, the light, right, the life that is there with me, and the natural flow of all that expression. Feeling my feet on the earth. I'm barefoot and that much more connected to the ground. All those kinds of things. And I am looking out at trees, and there's a lovely spot out that I so appreciate right outside. Oh, let's see. So I pay attention in myself, and I pay attention to it in others, and it's part of my intuitive gift. I pay attention to positions, postures, gestures, very little things like, do I have a signal do I have an itch? Do I scratch it? Do I see someone else scratching an itch? All those kinds of things are meaningful. There's a difference for me of whether I have an itch here and an itch here. Just for example, this is connected more to boundaries, yes and no, and this is connected more to creativity. And sometimes I'll notice I have an itch right here, and like it might be both. So it could be, yeah, I'm so interested in this creative idea. It could be, oh, I don't want that. I have an idea around it. All kinds of different things. Or if they're having a conversation with someone and they scratch here, chances are they have some sort of yes or a no. And more often I find it's a no. So I'm attuned to my body and letting my body be a reflection, as well as my eyes seeing people, of what's happening. And it's how do I have present awareness without being obsessive compulsive about it? And really, in some ways, part of what I used is kind of an obsessive compulsiveness I developed as a child to have a hyper awareness of me in a way that's of service, instead of being hyper aware of what's happening outside where I'm scared. How do I use it to be present and to be aware of what the antenna of my body is telling me? Yeah, I notice all kinds of breathing shifts in me. How much am I breathing in my belly? How much does my breath rise to my chest? How much does the pace of my breath change? I do a workout where I play with my breathing and how does it affect my body as I breathe in different ways, different pacing. And another thing I look for are different types of fear. So fear in general, right, tells me that I either need something to respond to in the moment, which often is so quick I'm not thinking about it, or a fear is something I'm creating and is part of my brain distracting me and getting in my way. And some of the ways that shows up is if my body tightens, my eyes would go big is common. You can see this in other people too. Or if I distract with other things or thinking other things. People's eyes can go up when they do that. If I collapse or suddenly I'm tired and have no energy, that often comes from fear. Or pushing inside me or pushing outside in you, strength of how to say something and leaning forward and my hands and all those things are fear. And then there's another one too, pushing myself down and elevating something else. All these things come from fear. And so there are all kinds of subtle ways that shows up. That's a little bit of how this shows up for me and my awareness of me, my awareness of others, and how I use it to be of service. And all the different things we're doing to help us get into a place of more mindfulness or presence are all the things that help us shift out of fear. So chances are when you were listening to Stacey or when you're listening to Drasmin, you weren't feeling scared. You were getting present in the moment. You were experiencing the safety of being in your body where you are right now more than you had before. Even if some things around you aren't as safe as you would like, you tapped into the things that are safe. And you got more open and present and trusting. So those are some of the perspectives that I bring to today. And you can find out more about me at intuitiveeyereading.com, matchmakingsoulmates.com. My aim is to help you be present, aware, authentic of yourself in connection with others, with dating. So really dating can be a mindfulness practice too. Who knew all these things? It's certainly a mindfulness gym where you have opportunities to do exercises and how to be present while you're on something like a date. All right. Well, practitioners, anyone have anything else to share about yourself or the theme as we're getting ready to take questions from the audience? I know hopefully Henry will be back and join us. We will just find out what works for Henry.
I didn't love when you mentioned that you didn't realize the meditation wasn't working for you, because that was my case as well. I didn't everybody talk about quieting the mind, not thinking about everything, and I wasn't able to do it, especially coming from a background of survival as a kid. My third eye was always scanning, always doing it, things like that. And the funny thing that every time I tried to meditate, I could travel planets, I could get soul info, I could go past, present, and future, I could go dimension, I could get like so much. Like I was very gifted according to my elders when we're doing shamanic journeys or going, but that's not meditating. And it took me so many years to understand the meditation is also a form to feel safe. Feel safe. It's about feeling safe. So please be aware that there is many different ways of meditation that might work for some of us and not for other people. So, and that's okay. Don't get too caught up in this is the way we're supposed to be, because at the end of the day, it's the gift to getting to know yourself. And thank you so much, Stacey, for the sound. I love it. Like, I'm in heaven.
Yeah, great. Go ahead, Drasmin.
I don't know why I didn't think of getting my sound bowl. Thank you, Stacey, for bringing that in, just like taking us to the next level. I love it. And that's really what meditation is about, you know, leveling up. Meditation can be something, you know, as Laureli was sharing, something that can be very intimidating, especially if you have a very overactive mind or a lot of responsibilities, or if you have a fractured nervous system because of, you know, trauma or just life or whatever is coming up. So, you know, another way to look at meditation, you know, set an alarm. I call it an appointment with peace. It's like my daily appointment with peace. This is a non-negotiable daily appointment with peace. I don't know who talked about it, but they talked about the mind. And the mind, the law of mind, is the first law of creation, you know, and you can't really turn the mind off, because if you're brain dead, then you're just not functioning. You know, the mind is always moving. There's always stuff going on. But the point of meditation is to be the observer. To be the observer of the mind, so that then you can use, you know, your tools in there to amplify your life, rather than it dragging you like a cat to a bath. You know, the way I like to say, you know, if you want to approach meditation, if this is your first time, if you're really struggling, set small goals. 60-second timer at the same time every day. There's a saying in Japanese traditions, you want to master something, you know, set a timer for 60 seconds of pure concentration every day. And I love the mini goals, because then if you go 3 minutes, you're like, I'm a boss. I meditated for 3 minutes today, rather than, you know, setting yourself up for failure, so to speak, where you're like, I'm going to do 15 minutes. And then 2 minutes in, you're like, you smell pizza, and then you hear the cat, you know, scratching at the litter box, and then you start having cramps in your leg, and you're like, I don't know if I should be moving. You know, it's okay to have movement meditations. I do a lot of movement meditations, especially as female bodied. We are meant to literally be in motion. So I always say, you know, sit for 60 seconds on the top of a hill, so to speak, and observe the freeway. And one direction are the thoughts, the other direction are the emotions, and learn to just sit there for 60 seconds every day and just observe the thoughts and the emotions. And then over time, you can choose if you want to go for a ride. You can see, you know, the cars that are broken, where there might be construction going on, you know, all the things going on. And that will help develop your attention to observation, as paradoxical as that sounds. You're learning how to be attentive without paying hyper focusing attention. So just wanted to throw that in there because, you know, we are talking about higher realms, but I also want to address, you know, the other side of that spectrum of like, where do I even start? If this is, you know, if this is something that's just like overwhelming, it's an appointment with peace, 60 seconds every day. We all got it. Okay. We all got it. There is absolutely no excuse for not doing it. And as DoveLight was saying, it will save your life because when you are centered, then you're not in a space of reaction and you're able to think before you say the dum or the dum. And then you're like, oh, if I just taken a breath, one breath, 3 breaths. Okay, all right, goose fraba, all is well.
Great fun. Yeah. Just anything else? Anyone else on the panel? Anything you want to share?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say even, you know, that's such a great introduction to saying Drasmin, because even when we're asleep, it's detached awareness, right? I mean, our subconscious is more in charge, but there's still awareness because, oh, if there is a sound, you know, and you need to get up and move and do something and change something, you're still taking that in. So detached awareness, you know, and same thing with meditation. Again, lowering those brainwave states so that we can tap into our creativity. I know a lot of my aha moments come just as I'm maybe drifting off to sleep after, you know, the day is done. I'm no longer processing. You're starting to drift. And then it's, oh my goodness. And some of my most brilliant things sometimes come in that way and I have to get up and write them down. So it's good stuff. Thank you. It's important to know that being in that state and chunking it down into those little bits of time is just such a great way to build our confidence, to help us feel successful in what we're doing, and to just continue to build on it. Then you can expand the time. Next time it's 90 seconds. Next time it's 2 minutes, maybe. And you just build it. And it's something, as you say, we can do anytime during the day, even if you need to, if you're in an office situation or, you know, a setting somewhere with a lot of people, if you can step outside for a minute, take 60 seconds, or even just take those 3 deep breaths, and then you can re-enter and get back into being in the whirlwind of things in life.
It's great. We were talking a little bit about sleep earlier before we started, and you mentioned something, Stacey, that's one of those ways that I let myself go to sleep. I learned that if I ever thought of anything, that any idea, I needed to get up and write it down, and that was the only way I would let go and let myself sleep. So I wasn't putting any intention, energy into attempting to remember.
Yeah, get it out of your head and onto the paper.
Yeah. Yeah. Jasmine, go ahead. Did you?
Yeah, I like to say, you know, it's really important, you know, just like the physical body needs to take a dump, hopefully every day for health and wellness. The mental body needs to take a dump, and journaling, you know, whiteboarding, vision, you know, chalkboarding, wall writing, window pane writing, anywhere. I have a giant, massive board that I call my Pond C for any Harry Potter fans out there, where I just like brain dump. And then emotional dumping is also good, you know, just getting it out of you. And if yesterday at yesterday's panel, I shared a practice I might share later today of a way to emotionally dump, you know, and it just helps declutter the mind, because the mind doesn't stop. We learn how to stop being reactive to the tool of the mind.
Yes. All right. Well, we as a panel are open to questions. I'll put the information in the chat again. It's a small price to ask a question of the panel. We request that you pay ahead and then let us know that you've paid, and we'll get you up here on the spotlight if you'd like to be here on video with us. And chances are most of us will answer your question. It's sliding scale, 20 to 28. You choose what you can pay, or $12 for BIPOC folks as a step of making reparations. Just checking to see if anyone has already paid. PayPal and Venmo are easiest for us. If you need to pay another way, we can do that too. The question could be related about the theme, could be related to the theme. That's what's typical. And we do answer questions about anything. We all bring in all kinds of different approaches. Yeah, and if anyone is already in line, and anyone has already paid to ask a question, please do let me know, and you'll be first. Yeah, I'm checking to see if anyone has jumped in yet. Maybe not. Yeah. And while we're waiting for a question, if anyone has just a general question about the topic too, we can talk about that. I guess one thing we haven't talked about that I'm particularly like aware of, present of, one of the teachers that I studied with has a book on spiritual bypassing. And these tools can be used to bypass as well. So it's important to use them to get present, not to avoid. Spiritual bypassing would be when we use spirituality as a way of avoiding what we really need to face. Like it could be, for example, if let's take an example. Let's say it's really clear that I have some sort of injury or wound or something happening. Like it's very clear it's a physical thing, and there could be other emotional causes. I have a very clear physical thing, and instead I meditate and I don't attend to something that really is going to actively causing me harm. So that would be like a very simple, extreme example. Or it could be that I have a lot of toxicity in a relationship with someone in the way that I'm behaving. And I imagine that if I simply meditate, that I'm actually spiritual and I'm more conscious and I'm growing. And it may be that there's this other thing like the toxicity that's actually got me pulled down and weighted down, and I'm imagining that I can put a little band-aid over it. That would be an example of spiritual bypassing. So it's important to use these tools to get present to all and to embrace and welcome all and allow it to be how to say it's all, it all can be of service to us in being in alignment, being in our wholeness, being more connected to spirit, not to feel shame about the things. We all are on a journey and all have lessons. So if anyone else has any comments on anything like that too, that would be, yeah.
Well, it sounds more like denial, the spiritual or denial, like you're denying reality. And the purpose of meditation is go back to the center, to be grounded, to be present in your life. And if you're present in your life, you have to acknowledge what it has to work for, what it has been working for me. Again, it's the sense of safety. Sometimes I was so overwhelmed. In the indigenous cultures, we have this knowing that we don't talk about God, we talk with God. And meditation is a way to just go back to the source. And in my case, it was so overwhelming, the love that you can get once you just relax enough just to feel home. Like you generally feel home, you generally feel love, you generally feel oneness. It brings me tears because it feels so real. And sometimes I stop meditating for a few days because I get overwhelmed. But it is my understanding that one time they told me that they found me. That means that not that they didn't know, the spirit didn't know where I was, but I was actually in a state when I was willing to be open to receive that love or to communicate in that way, just by listening. It's very important for us to listen. And I remember that it is those moments that give you that inner, it's like something, I don't know how to explain it with words, but it's like an inner knowing that you have backup, that you are going to be okay regarding of what's the outcome. And I feel like that's power, that strength is what helped you to go through that surgery, is what will help you to go through that bank call, is what help you to go to the doctor if you need it. It will help you to move forward or to open to ideas or actions that will lead you to the solution that you're looking for. So yes, there is a difference between a spiritual bypassing denial than actually going back to your center, when you can gather your soul essence, your energy, your connection to actually move through life. Something that Drasmin said that was really beautiful, it's about the mind, because it's true. You're not supposed to do meditation to deny the mind. The mind, it's a beautiful gift we receive. It helps us to survive, help us to live in this world. So it is not about only, it's not about denying the mind. I don't want to think to back those. We are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. Those are gifts that were given to us. And what meditation doesn't, it's observe it without no judgment, to balance and to get to know ourselves. So we decide how we are choosing to move in this world in a more conscious way. And last thing but not least, in indigenous cultures, we call the drumming sound. It's the heartbeat of the Mother Earth, because when you are inside your mom, for the 9 months that you develop and stay inside your mommy's womb, you heard her heart for 9 months. So sound, the vibration, it's embedded in our DNA. This is when we hear frequencies like 432 HC or the drum or the singing bowl. It's like the inner knowing DNA that we're going back home. And this is why it's very important to also incorporate sound in music. They resonate because we have different soul frequencies. Sometimes we resonate more to certain frequencies than others. To me, David Young and Stephen Halpers help me a lot. But that's where it's very important to allow music. And what it works for me, not only to heal myself, but other is to hear the frequency of my voice. So sometimes it's good to just to call your name before a meditation at your own pace, at your own time, how you feel. You can call your name. And when you're calling your name, your body can hear the frequency of your voice. They feel the frequency of your soul. Basically, it's like doing a ceremony ritual. You're coming back home, and those are simple things. It doesn't cost you any moment, any time, any money to just sit there and be present for yourself. What now they're telling me, you are worth your own time, the same amount that you will spend to do something for somebody else because quote unquote you like them or love them. Why would you not do it for yourself if you genuinely are loved? So again, being mindful in meditation, if you choose to add this practice that will definitely benefit and help your life, it's another way to take action towards self-love, because you are basically saying, acting, doing, I am worth my own time. I am worth getting to know myself. I am worth being with myself. So thank you, spirits. Thank you.
I'm so grateful that this topic of spiritual bypassing has come up, because, there is a toxic culture within the spiritual community that I've noticed where, there's a hyper focus on spirituality and then the body starts to fall apart, and it's so important to recognize that we need the body to integrate all of these, whatever, we're receiving. So, hydration, our bodies are literally 80% water. Water, I always say dehydration is disassociation. When we're disconnected from the body, it's because we need to hydrate. If you're hungry, drink water, wait 10 minutes. And then if you still feel hungry, that's when you know your body needs food, because most of the time the body's just, needing to just like be reminded of like, hey, I need some lubrication over here. I need something to just like move and get that energy flowing. And the other thing I want to point out is the mind is like a supercomputer. We wake up every day and it's a blank slate. And what you do the first few minutes of waking up, do you grab water and lubricate the mind so like the energy can start flowing? Or do you grab your phone and, start doom scrolling? And then that sets the tone for your day. The heart is the receptor of energy signals. It receives these signals from the world around us, and then the signals go up to the brain and the brain translates it. But sometimes the translator of the brain isn't accurate because of programming, because of trauma, because of conditioning. And so meditation is a really great way to start translating from your own conscious seat of awareness. And conscious means, aware and present with self. Again, that's another word that can sometimes like go over people's heads, like, what is conscious? But conscious is just like being in that seat of awareness of like, what is the signal? What is the energy that's coming up? And am I translating it? Is the supercomputer of my brain translating it in a way that is empowering for me or disempowering for me? And meditation really helps you develop that skill. And so it's really important to build that muscle of awareness, and that starts with the body, hydrating. I have so many of my clients come to me and they're like, they want Kundalini activations and shamanic, soul purpose activations. And I'm like, you need to start with eating and cleaning your house, do your dishes, take out the trash. And they're like, well, this isn't spiritual. I'm like, you are spiritual. You are spirit. You are God, goddess in form. This is your temple. So how you take care of your physical temple, how do you take care of your home? It's all a reflection of the depth and awareness that you continue to grow in your spiritual practice, in meditation.
I was saying part
I
of why it was particularly up for me is when we named this panel, I had the question of, oh, the title. Is it okay to have this title? Am I encouraging spiritual bypassing? Because it's mindfulness and meditation to reach higher spiritual planes. And some people can idolize they're reaching higher planes and not actually be here. So yeah, so for me, it's all present in the planning of this panel.
I admit I was guilty, and I met a lama at a 3-day sadhana a few years ago, and she's like, Drasmin, you need to get out of the God realm. I was like, excuse me, you don't know me. And then I had to think about it, and she was channeling a message from my ancestors. Like, I had spent 5 years in shamanic training and journeying, where I was like starting to like become disassociated from the world, and I was being triggered by the human experience. So I had to like come back to it. So I'm guilty. I have been there. I've been in that state of like, it's so much easier to escape. But meditation isn't meant to escape the human experience. It's meant to help with greater integration, so you can really thrive in the being experience.
Absolutely. And Jasmine, I love that you brought that up about the cleaning and so forth. And cleaning could be a meditation too. I mean, doing the dishes can be a meditation. Walking meditations. Laureli talks about being in your body. You can be meditating and still moving your body, being out in nature, going for a walk. If you're being mindful of the sounds, as she said, and the feeling of the earth underneath your feet, and boy, talk about us being electrical beings, putting your bare feet on the ground, if that's not something that you do regularly, let me tell you, you want to help be mindful, regulate your nervous system, that is a real electrical connection with the earth and the earth's being, which is, so vibrating with life, right? As our mother earth, and our feet directly on that ground. Oh my goodness, there you go, barefoot babe over there. Yes, Jasmine. And and you think about, like, with the hydration piece, that's why I tell my clients before they have a session with me, please make sure that you're drinking up to 16 ounces of water in the 2 hours leading up to that. Because when you think about this, I mean, we're electrical beings. Our brains, our nervous system, it's all electrical impulses. It's why they tell us to come inside when there is a thunderstorm, because if you're wet, that electricity is going to get attracted to you, right? So being electrical beings, you need water in order for that nervous system to fire properly and to get you the messages to your body that you need.
And go ahead, DoveLight.
Yeah, oh, se me fue. I just got it. What I was gonna say. Oh my God, I just missed it for a second. It's okay. Mindfulness. But I wanted to say something about water. Yeah, because I was thinking about water, that if you have any kidney problems or water retention problems, you also have to be mindful that drinking a lot of water might not be for your highest good. So always listen to your body. Okay, it come back. Thank you. Because they told me to mention the retention of water, because we're not licensed doctors. And they're telling me that when we talk about higher realms, it is higher realms. It's not higher in the human sense that they're better or worse, because they always tell me that it's because their frequency goes so fast. It's a soul spiritual frequency. But the gift of you being human, you can experience it within your human reality. So yes, meditation and mindful will allow you to go to higher realms, but that doesn't mean that you stop being human. The gift is that you are part of the equation, of the God equation, of your spiritual team's equation. You are important because you are the one who's holding a physical vessel through the actions, through your thoughts, through your emotions. You're affecting this world. So when we're talking about achieving higher realms, what we're talking about is going back to the frequency of unconditional love. And if you are incurring that high frequency of unconditional love while you're doing your dishes, while you're talking to children, while you're doing your math projects, while you're going into your business trip, aren't we doing heaven and earth? Thank you. That's what they keep telling me. This is about heaven and earth. Heaven and earth means I'm bringing my essence. I'm walking in my truth in this plane. So yes, meditation and mindfulness will bring you to higher realms, which means that you will bring the best that your soul essence can offer within this world. Definitely, it's not about escaping. I myself, it was very hard for me to be present in my body. I was the person who will forget to eat for hours. I was the person who will not drink any type of water at all because I was so disconnected to my body. There was a time in myself when being in my body was dangerous. I didn't want to be in my body. If you sum it up, that I also have remember memories of past life in other planets with other consciousness, other ways of being. Not so nice. But the point is that it is true. It is true. Your body loves you. And there is no way that you can continue living a spiritual life if you keep punishing your body. And that's what we do when we forget to drink water or to eat or to even to clean our room or to do something that it's a gift, which is being human. And that's what yesterday panel, I recommend the last person that, yeah, if you're doing too much healing, too much spirituality, go dance hip hop. Go do something else. You're getting too caught up in the healing journey, in the spiritual journey, just something, and you need to do balance. And I think that was the last mention that I said yesterday, because it is true. You can also get caught up in the healing journey, and the healing of spirit, and when there is always, you always keep trying to fix, trying to heal, when you're not allowing a mindful moment to just process, a mindful moment to be present, to know that you are where you're meant to be. Because if you are meant to be in somewhere else, you will be somewhere else. So I just wanted to honor that it's important to balance the hush called mundane, which is actually the spiritual gift, to the so-called spiritual reality. So I just think I want to honor that. Thank you.
Thanks, DoveLight. Go ahead, Drasmin.
So, I want to mention that it's not quote unquote wrong to slip into hours of meditation, especially if you are doing a deep diving spiritual study. And I've definitely gone through, 7, 21, 35, 68-day journeys where, slipping into hours of meditation is part of that journey. And that's where, that practice of awareness can really help you realize, are you in the ego? And yes, there is a spiritual ego, okay? Or are you surrendering to the spiritual practice that you're in and making sure that you are in balance in the body, when you step out of that? So during the starting phases, and sometimes I find this with my clients, my spiritual clients, and they go through another initiation, and I tell them, start your integration small, 5 minutes. They're like, well, I'm used to meditating for 2 hours a day. I'm like, that's nice, but this is a new aspect, so whenever you go through different layers, start small to strengthen the new layer that you're adding as you continue leveling up in your spiritual awareness, in your intuitive gifts, in your body awareness, because it's all about layers. When a baby's born, you don't give the baby a steak. You give them milk because they have to develop teeth. And in the same way, when we go through different layers of spiritual development, of conscious evolution, we have to take those slow, steady steps and then know the difference between escapism and surrendering. And then the second thing I wanted to say was, there are many different dimensions, so to speak. There are, that's a great question. There are many different layers of guides, right? So why do certain channels, certain mediums, certain psychics, certain spiritual leaders have access to certain guides and others may not have access to? It's because they are higher frequency beings that need a translator. For example, Archangel Michael is a guide that anyone can connect to because he can literally come down into the earth plane and connect with anyone. But someone like, say, Archangel Metatron, is a little bit of a higher level guide. So you need to go through decluttering, strengthening the body, and maybe not the best example, but it took me a little bit before I see DoveLight's face. You're like, I don't know about this. But the point is that there are different layers of guides, of counsels in the higher realms that you just need to work up to so you can hear the messages more clearly. And during that process, that's when you go and receive, support and wisdom from guides who have already done that work and be the translator, the conduit, so to speak, so that you can receive that activation and then develop your own strength so you can directly access those higher and higher levels.
Great. And we have some interesting general questions coming in the chat. One of them is detachment a form of spirituality or mindfulness? Detachment is an interesting word from my perspective. It has multiple meanings, multiple. Yeah, if anyone else wants to dive in on that, go ahead.
I have a quick thing to say about that. And so there's 3 layers. There is attachment, which is the 3D, which is the human aspect, which is the ego mind. Then there is detachment, when you are starting to detach from it. But then there is the 3rd level when you enter 5D of non-attachment, where you realize you can have relationships with your work, with your family, with your situationships, without being attached to the outcome. So detachment is the bridge between attachment and non-attachment. I hope that makes sense.
Maybe say that a little bit more.
Okay, so all right, I'm gonna give the most famous example, all right, which might sound a little trite and silly, but attachment could be like, I love pizza. I can't live without pizza. You know, pizza, I need to have it every day for breakfast, sometimes for dinner. You're like attached to pizza. You're just like, I need it. I can't live without it. Or coffee, you know. Detachment, it's like, I don't need pizza. Pizza needs me. You know, you can get a little in the ego when you're in detachment. You know, you're like, whatever, I don't need this. And then non-attachment, it's like, ooh, I could really use some pizza today, but it's not in alignment. And that's okay. It's going to happen when it's in alignment for me, or coffee, or a relationship, or whatever that might mean. Does that simplify that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's great. Get it more concrete for people that might not be as familiar with the terms. That's great.
Thank you. Yes,
Great.
absolutely.
Yeah. DoveLight, go ahead. You go ahead, and then I have something to say after that.
Let me see the question. Is detachment a form of spirituality or mindfulness? Definitely, yes, definitely. We live in a world with diversity, with duality, which means if you have to eat something, eventually it's going to detach out of your body in the next morning. When you are in your mommy's womb as a gift from the divine and for your soul to be born into this world, you spend time with your mommy and then you have to detach for her body. And even the placenta detach for the mom. Detachment and attachment are part of the fluidity of life. In shamanism, when we extract like an old energy lover from a person or an emotional that is stuck in their body, or we detach from an ancestor who for some reason is very revengeful from the present generation, because sometimes that happens, or a past life where you're still carrying the energy of the pattern of the same mistake or the same guilt, for example, we have to detach that. We have to take out that energy. We extracted, we clear it, but then we have to bring something new mindfully, consciously, because if you don't do it in shamanism, when you take out something, you have to bring in something to bring upon the balance. So detachment can be a form of mindful and spirituality, as long as you consciously are aware how are you choosing to move into that energy. Because sometimes we do need to detach for certain things, and sometimes we need to attach for other things. So it is about the power in which you're choosing to attach or detach to the things that are happening within your life, and the awareness of where is that leading you. So again, even with the mind, thinking mind, even with the multitasking, same thing with multitasking. You should not judge multitasking. We need moments when we need to multitask. It might not be the healthiest thing to do permanently, because it is important to be present, but it serves a purpose. So it is about how we use the energy, which intention we use the energy. Even being present in your life. Sometimes we need to detach. As a little kid, many of us survive the overwhelming, challenging things that we pass through by detaching, by disassociating. And even though it doesn't serve our highest good as adults, at that moment, that was a gift of love that we needed to feel safe. So we cannot judge things as good or bad. We generally have to accept that in this world, there is dark, there is lightness, there is shadow, there is sunshine, there is this diversity. It is, and it's going to affect us. I'm sorry, but it is going to affect us. So it is about being mindful to going back to your center, touching, stay in touch with your energy. So you choose, or you find that point when you can observe where do you need more balance and harmony in the way that you detach for certain things, or you will like to attach for other things. And with that, I'll stop because I was a keeper. Thank you. I hope I make sense.
Yeah, you do. That's great. As you were sharing, one of the phrases that's part of my practice came up, and it's letting go. The part of the non-attachment or detachment, for me, part of consciousness, right? Presence is letting go. And I think that's part of what meditation and mindfulness is bringing to us. And for some people, it's really helpful to have a physical way to practice the thing, to get our being, again, since I'm so physical, getting our being into a very visceral sense of what something is. So I went to get something I could easily drop. So letting go can be practiced by literally, right, picking it up and letting it go. That experience physically of dropping the thing as a way of learning to do that with our minds too, and our attention. Yeah. Before you go on, just one thing I want to throw in here briefly. So someone made a comment in chat, so interesting for us of how we do this as a panel, and we might go back, for example, to listening to some of your sounds in a moment as a way of doing some of this. The comment was a version of like, there's so much great information here, it's hard to think of a question because the space is so full. So go ahead, share what you want, and then we might do some practices of creating spaciousness and creating a question of, what is here in your life that you want support in, or where is a block for you about this? What are your struggles here? What do you imagine might be like the next thing on your journey? Then we create some spaciousness and allow people to see what that might be. And go ahead, Stacey.
I was when I was listening to Drasmin talk about the pizza, right? Gotta have it every day. That to me, and because I've worked with people in this area before, sounds more like addiction, right? So there's a difference between like, ooh, gotta have it every day. It's so, that attachment and addiction are very intertwined, right? And that, versus, as I believe it was DoveLight was saying, is that necessarily the thing that's going to nourish me today, right? So even though you may want that and have that, little, getting detached from the need piece, and then asking your body too, again, what is it that I'm missing? What is it that's best going to nourish me today? Those are very different distinctions about the attachment versus, okay, I can still have pizza once in a while, but it's not a constant, a constant feed or a thought process of I gotta have it, right? And I love the physical letting go, Lorelei. Much less loud than a mic drop. The feathers.
Yeah, for DevLike, I was thinking too about when you were talking about the sounds and I don't remember exactly what you're saying, but how when we hear something, we can tell when it resonates. Maybe, I don't know if you or DevLight, someone was saying, someone was
Yeah,
speaking
I
that.
was talking about different music and
Yeah, when
some of it agitates.
my last name arrived from the universe, and as it arrived, the first thing I did is I said it, and saying it, I knew it was my name. So yeah, it was the sound of my name and the vibration of my name. I knew it was my name. Yeah, go ahead, DevLight.
This has come up a lot in my readings with different people, so I just want to honor that. Sometimes allowing the space to be mindful and meditate, to detach from the person who perhaps is not for your highest good, will allow you to have safe space to see the red flag. Because for whatever reason, sometimes we know that we are in a healthy lover relationship or romantic relationship, and because we are emotionally invested for whatever reason you might have, we bypass the red flag, or we just start to pass them as okay or normal, just because, for example, one of the cases was afraid to be alone or feel abandoned. She didn't even like the person. He was just so afraid to feel abandoned but just it was enough for her to stay in that relationship. So when you detach from a relationship, even though it's painful, and you have to sometimes even have a strong will to don't reach over that person, even though that person doesn't even care about you, he's not texting you, he's ghosting you and everything, but you still want to reach. And allowing the space to mindfully go back to yourself and feel safe within eventually will help you to detach, because once you detach, especially emotionally, you can actually acknowledge the truth. Sometimes just we need time to process, to acknowledge the truth. And sometimes we ourselves as a protection, we don't want to acknowledge the truth because it hurts. But at the end of the day, you're always going to be with you. You're always going to be with you. Even when you're in a relationship with somebody, you still are with you. So this is what I say, mindfulness and meditation can save your life, because if it's for us, it's very hard to let go or to deal with relationship. Mindfulness will allow you that beautiful gift of love of being with you. And sometimes what we project in others and we're looking and missing from them is genuinely the inner voice that we're missing within ourselves, saying that I'm worth, I'm okay, I am loved, I don't have to pass through this. I'll be safe being with myself. I just wanted to honor that because it has becoming a lot in a lot of readings that I do. Thank you.
Something I would love to add, Stacey was talking about a little bit about addiction and how addiction and attachment can, become entangled, not necessarily the same thing. We can be attached to something without being addicted to it. But there is a very real thing of quantum emotional entanglement. And that's really where I specialize. I specialize in untangling the quantum entangling. By listening to how you speak, by observing how you carry yourself. I'm very intuitive in that way. I can pick up on those micro things. So the greatest practice and the benefit of meditation really is learning how to detach from the emotions. But I also want to point here that those emotions are really important. That's where the higher level, the 5D, so to speak, if we're looking at dimensions, comes in, where we realize that we actually have needs, and needs are healthy. We need to feel safe. We need to feel loved. However, how we approach those needs, that's where that healthy, unhealthy attachment or detachment can come in, because, we're either in the one spectrum of being, codependent, or in the other spectrum of being hyper independent. And then non-attachment is about recognizing that those needs are there. They are a part of being in the human experience. We need water, we need food, we need shelter, we need sex, we need love, we need pleasure. Those are all parts of being in the human experience, but we don't have to be attached to how we get that or the outcome, because desire by its very nature can never be fulfilled, or it stops becoming desire. So that's something that I always like to mention, is detach yourself from the need, yet recognize that you need the needs, right? And that's, again, the paradox of being in the human experience.
Oops, we have some muting. Everyone's muted. Oops. Okay, well, let's see. So maybe nothing needs to be said. So I was wondering, maybe if Stacey, if you wouldn't mind, if you could just play your bowls for just a short time. And then one of the questions that was asked, and maybe we can all presence this. So those of us on the panel and everyone in the audience too, maybe presence this. It was, what are our learning edges and growth places? Where do we know we don't quite know yet? Yeah. So go ahead and play, and we'll come back and maybe explore that.
Breathing that in. Give yourself that deep breath. And shake it out if you need to. Wake up the body.
You know, one of the body practices for me in meditation is to move, like to move all my joints, you know, and to be aware of what I'm not moving and then move those and look for more that I'm not moving.
Yeah. You can find your stuck energy that way very easily.
Yeah.
Move it through.
Yeah, one of those question to explore for everyone, you know, and for those of us on the panel too. Yeah, new people coming in. Yeah, where are our growth edges in this theme? Where are the places we know we don't yet know, we know we're not yet as open? Or we're, in terms of bypassing, like we're so open away that we're not here. Yeah. So each one of us personally to explore, and those of us on the panel if we're willing to share. And I can say as a way of kind of starting that with some vulnerability. So one of my specialties is fear, and one of my big learning edges is fear. So I can often get caught in a fear of scarcity of time for all that I want to do. And I have trouble with, just like I did earlier, letting go, to let myself really be with like what you just did. And so even being the host, I'm like, oh, but I have to keep a little awareness if someone wants to come in, or, you know, to have the space be safe for all of us. Yeah, so the reminder for me is the trusting that there is enough and I am enough. Yeah. Yeah, Drasmin, you spoke earlier about some of your past lessons. Yeah, if anyone else wants to share, what are some of your current lessons and edges?
Well,
Yeah, I could go into DoveLight. Are you ready? Okay. So, you know, I did talk briefly earlier of how I spent, you know, my background is actually medicine. Before I was awakened to my spiritual gifts, I was in school. I was on the path to become a neurosurgeon. That was what I thought my calling was. And then there was a big awakening experience that happened when I was 24, where I was diagnosed. And they basically said, you know, you're not going to be able to hold the scalpel, let alone use your hands by the time you're 30. And it ignited this fire within me to, you know, say, watch me. And here I am, you know, I can use my hands. So, you know, one of my growing edges is learning how to delegate and learning how to trust, because I've been so hyper independent because of complex trauma. I've become, you know, I was because I'm changing the story here and rewriting the story. I was so hyper independent, and, you know, I know how to do it. I do it fast. I do it good. Let's go. Don't get in my way or I will cut you down, you know. And it's just like learning how to be soft, be more in my feminine energy, you know, and I'm talking more of a personal level here, you know, how do I step more into the feminine energy of being soft, of being receptive, of delegating, of trusting, of allowing, of, you know, not letting that spiritual ego come in of like, yeah, I've done a lot of work and I can tap into multiple realms while we're having a conversation and I have all this information coming through, and not allowing the judgments to come in, or, projecting what I see as someone's potential to create a mask where I don't see the reality of the person. That's something that I continuously find myself in evolution of acceptance is loving the being as they are in the now, not romanticizing their potential. And in the work that I do, being very gentle with their level of awareness and not allowing that tone to come in that, might make them feel small, or, like they don't know enough. And I was going to start out with a joke and say, I don't have any growing edges. I'm God, I'm enlightened, I'm perfect, but that's just me being silly, because ultimately we don't really know anything. We have access to information, and then that gets translated, and how I translate that, how I share that knowledge, really tapping into where a person might be able to receive information, where it's time to like push a little bit, or withdraw my energy, and that, reflecting back in my personal life of where I need to, withdraw and let myself be helped and supported and seen, and trusting, tapping into a little bit of what Laureli said, that that's not going to affect my financial flow, because I do deep work in the quantum. So I understand that, when somebody comes into your energy field, you're accepting not just their physical presence, but how they are functioning mentally, emotionally, financially, what attachments they have, what traumas. And, my growing edges is learning how to trust that, my work and my sacredness and what I've spent so many years clearing and cultivating can continue to be honored and grow, without all of their stuff corrupting it. That's not really the right word, but it's the best word I can think of. So it's this constant tempering of being in the human experience, accepting my own humanness, and stepping more into the feminine energy of receptivity and delegation, and being connected with other like-minded woman leaders has something that has been, non-binary leaders has been something that has really helped me grow as just a being in the human experience. So I feel like that's the big growing edge right now, and it's one of my intentions for this year, stepping more into my divine feminine energy, so that I can continue showing up in embodiment and in empowerment and in humanness as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you honoring your journey and not following what you were told, not believing only in what you were told. Yeah.
I only had to get my ass kicked, 1, 2, 3, maybe a dozen times.
Yeah. Well,
Just to be sure.
and I know DoveLight, did you want to go now, or I know Stacey, which way are you going? You all want to share?
Oh, because she unmuted, so I didn't want to be rude. Let me see the questions again. I think he said something about being less expert.
Yeah, that one. It was yeah. What are your growing edges? What are your growing edges with this? Like, it's really with all of this, and with this in particular. Yeah. So where is it that you're not like an expert? Yeah.
That's what my answer came right away. Like, I don't even have to think about it, because I genuinely, sincerely, with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my spirit, I do not believe I'm an expert in anything. And I'm not saying this out of humbleness. It was a gift that was given to me from my upbringing, that I didn't see myself as a human. I didn't see myself as something worth of nothing. And through the development of my relationship with the divine, and I understand that was not true. But the consequence that I'm still navigating to is it's very hard for me to acknowledge me as something even better or worse than anything. if anything, when I'm in this balance, I might go back for moments to, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough, or maybe I don't have this income enough, or this and that. But through my connection with the divine, through allowing time to be with myself, which was scary, through my journey, I can go back to the essence of me, who is genuinely pure, who is genuinely loved, who is genuinely light. So I don't disbalance myself, but it's a long-term process. It is a gift for Fatima, because one day I will stop being Fatima. I'll take the wisdom, but I will stop being Fatima. So I have to observe that it is Fatima as a personality, which is connected to my true essence. So I have to walk in both worlds. I'm always working in the multidimensionality work. So I am not an expert in anything. Don't think I will become an expert in anything. I was born with natural and healing abilities and gifts. In 2009, I finished the so-called Mastering in Reiki, plus a bunch. I've been attuned to a lot of things, plus directly to the spirits. And I don't even, as my teacher taught me, you are not a master just because you finish a weekend or a week or years. Of course, you are mastering energy, because you will do it for the rest of your life. What we are humans doing at this moment is we are mastering love, and love comes in many different ways. And again, I'm not saying this as a humbleness. It is a true belief in me, in my perception, in the way that I do things. Now, a little bit of the edges that I'm still working on, and I realized lately, is that in my native Spanish, we speak fast. Que no sé qué, que pasó, que como la cosa, no sé qué. So when I speak in English, I have to be mindful to slow down, because my if I speak in English at the same speed that I'm used to it, because I'm fluent in Spanish, nobody will understand me. Not even I understand myself when I see the recorder. Only, how people can understand me? So I have to, again, that's something that I'm working on, and it's really a challenge, because I rather just speak light language, and it is Spanish, but it's also light language. And so I was like, relax. And so, if to summary, in my case, it's fears over faith, it's fear over love. Sometimes I am afraid what's going to be of my life, what is going to be of my life, in my health, in my career, in my relationship. I'm not even married at my age, not have no kids, which I understand why, but now I'm consciously, am I going to do it because I'm choosing to do it, or am I just going to live with the fear of what society thinks you were supposed to be achieving, this and that? So I'm working, still navigating on through that, because I do know beautiful women or beautiful binary people who choose not to have kids, but I want to do it as a conscious way, not out of fear of anything. But that's something that I personally navigated, so it's more conscious. So it's faith over fear, faith over trust, because this spiritual work right here, this human work, will always be about faith and trust. I cannot do any reading, I cannot do any healing session if I don't have faith and trust in my connection with the divine, which is also a version of me. I'm a tiny little version of me, so we're never separate. So that's what I live every day, and I definitely decide to start living one day at a time. It is very important to have a structure. It is very important to plan, but it is also extremely important to be present. Otherwise, we get too overwhelmed by what the future might not bring. So I don't know. I can't, another summary, I just don't know, but I trust that this higher power is guiding me through the process, and I'm trusting that it wants the best for me. Sometimes I cannot even see a positive future of myself. It's easy to see it for everybody else. In my readings, in my connection, I can see possibilities, futures, probabilities coming in, past like Ancestral. However, I cannot do it for myself sometimes. What it means Fatima's happiness will look like, I'm not sure. I've never been happy when I was growing up. I'm not used to doing that. But I trust that the divine knows what is for my highest good. Not because I don't have the right to desire. It's very important to desire. It's very important to go into your passion. But it is because the divine loves me so much, it will align what I would love to experience with what it is for my highest good. That's why all my prayers, all my readings, everything always start for the highest good of the person, for the highest good of all living creatures or everybody involved. So right now, that's what I'm going on through. It sounds like a little bit, but it goes deeper than that. But again, I'm just a regular person.
Thank you, DoveLight. Stacey, you're muted.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that. We are all just human beings trying to make our way here, right? And, yeah, so in Drasmin and mentioning the doing and the receiving, certainly for me, one of my learning edges is to be more in that feminine flow of receptiveness. Because of my background and my early childhood trauma, I learned to be the doer, and I was stepping in where the other responsible parties weren't, and being the parental kind of sibling, being the oldest. So I always got into that doing, and get it done. So it's very much more the masculine side, whereas the feminine side is more of that receiving. And also knowing as myself as an empath and having very strong empathic power and being given that gift, that I can't make assumptions when people are coming to work with me. Even though I'm getting my impression and my knowingness and my feeling of what that a person might be dealing with, need to let them speak it in their voice. And that's when I can do my best work, is to hear their own interpretation of what's going on, rather than to project my own impression from whatever information I'm receiving, so that we can co-create and work together to assist and to be of service. And that I have to protect myself also, so that I'm not, again, absorbing that energy from others, that theirs is theirs and mine is mine. And we each have our own bubble of energy that we're responsible for. And, not to influence that in, too strongly.
Go ahead, Drasmin.
Something I wanna add, as a survivor of complex trauma. I am a survivor of child cultistic sex crimes, religious trauma and abuse. And as a survivor, my growing edge, and I feel like I'm going to be working on this for a while, is trusting that I'm safe now. It still comes up, even though I spent over a decade in extensive therapy. I've done so much work. My coaching program is From Surviving to Thriving, trusting in the safety of the peace that I have cultivated, and not creating drama in my life because that's, or not creating conflict in my life because, my inner child's like, it's too calm, it's too peaceful, it's too good, accepting the too good. And that's one of the deeper growing edges within myself, that especially, in deeper intimate relationships, I'm very closed, not guarded. I'm working on, shifting that out of me, more in the sense of discerning of who I allow into my private circle, and trusting, especially in the initial stages, that there's safety in connection, there's safety in my business, there's safety in my work, there's safety in just being at peace, that, my trauma or my past, or, whatever, isn't going to come knocking on my door and like take me dragging back into the past. So, touching into what Laureli was talking again about, that fear, fear is a healthy emotion, but sometimes when we live in that state of just constant like freeze or fight or, flight, or just, never feeling like you can trust, because the people that are supposed to protect you and love you, they gaslight you, or they belittle you, or they dismiss you. It took me almost 14 years for me to be able to, stand up for myself to my blood family and say, you know what, I do not accept, and I wish you peace. And it's time for me to create my own family that makes me, that encourages me, that celebrates me, that empowers me, that is sensitive to me. I'm not sitting here playing the victim story and saying, oh, I'm a trauma child, I'm a victim. I'm simply acknowledging like my nervous system is delicate. And one of my attachment styles that I'm working through right now is the fearful avoidant. I especially, every once in a while, I just need that extra reassurance of like, hey, I'm not avoiding you. I'm here. I'm just taking some time off. And so that's a deeper growing edge of just feeling safe in the safety I've cultivated within myself, and learning how to effectively communicate my needs for gentle reassurance consistently over time. To know that, hey, I'm not being abandoned, and then just not honoring my own inner child. Again, talking about those needs, they're very real. It doesn't matter how much knowledge or awareness you have. As DoveLight said, we're just in the human experience. So I just wanted to touch on that growing edge, because I know that a lot of beings who tune into these events are survivors, maybe not to the depth and level I have, but it's not about comparison. We all have different layers of trauma, and it's about learning how to be at peace with the safety and the work we have done, and that can continue growing. And when we get triggered, it's okay that we're triggered. It just needs a little extra love.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead, DoveLight.
No, I would love to honor everyone's stories. That growing up, I also remember very, very clearly that I really thought that nobody would be able to understand me. Like, I generally felt like there was no one who could understand me or help me. And when we come to these panels, or when I help and support family constellations, ancestral work, I realized that we all have the same feelings, to a different level of experience, but we all feel the same things. We all feel sad, we all feel happy, we all feel angry, we all feel. Feeling is being alive. So please know that you are not alone. If you're watching this, there is definitely somewhere who is passing through difficulties similar or the same, but like Drasmin said, I always say it's no who got it better, some work, because it's not a competition. We all have different soul lessons, soul journeys, soul learning, soul expanding and growing. But it is to remind us that this is what makes us human, that we all have the ability to feel. So you never feel alone. Now, in my case, I try a lot, and everything, and what it really has helped me, it's the connection to God, the goddess, Buddha, the divine, the source. That's my main thing, to the point that I used to be in a place where I used to look for the next thing to heal me, because I was never feeling complete, to now I trust like the divine. It's amazing. If I need to heal something from a past, like, it will show it to me when I'm ready. If a memory from traumatic events when I'm a child have to come out to the surface, it will do it when they know that I'm ready, when I want to do the compassion. Otherwise, we're not doing ancestral healing. And what they helping me to build is this persona who has compassion, who has part of myself. So I stopped judging, so putting myself down for things that were not even my fault, but for some reason I thought it was something wrong with me. So again, I cannot stress enough that there is a higher power, not because it feels better than you, but because it has a vibration of unconditional love, who genuinely love you. You have a spiritual family in the other side who can support you, who can really help you if you're willing to ask for help. So I just wanted to honor that, because that is a true, it is a true.
Yeah, so
Just
go ahead.
touching lightly, on the family wound, we are born into blood families, and yet we do have soul contracts before we enter into a blood family. And sometimes the soul contract is to break away from that family. And that can, that's where that emotional quantum entanglement comes in. It's like, well, we're related by blood. Why can't you show up for me? Why can't you love me? Why can't you accept me? And yet some of us, especially in the current timeline, as Gaia is going through her evolution, and we look at the different prophecies of the Mayan calendar, the Jewish calendar, and the Toltec calendars, we are going through the next stage of our evolution. And there are many of us who are here, male or female bodied, or, in transitional bodies, that are here to break. It stops with me. It's like this shit has been perpetuated and going on and going on, and you are literally where it all hits. And so some of us have that deep work that can feel very isolating and very painful, especially when, you know, there isn't that familiar support. Yet I strive through my vulnerable sharing of my past and my childhood. You know, it isn't something that I just woke up and I was like, I'm going to share today. You know, it took a lot of work to be able to even like calmly share without feeling triggered, or, you know, again, that attachment to that story, to the trauma, to you know, whatever happened, to the not receiving, you know, the validation that I need, and accepting like, okay, fine, you know, there's a billion plus people in this world, you know, I don't need to be validated from an external source because I am my own greatest validator, yet I do need to be supported and loved for who I am, in the human experience, in the here now, as I continue to evolve, and things are going to come up.
Yes, I was just wanted to invite all of you in the audience. Maybe something is stirring in you. Maybe something has been touched in you. Maybe there's something that you want our support on that you're willing to share here in this format. We'd love to answer your question. We'd love to support you. We'd love to provide resources to you for whatever that is. And you can come on screen with us and share on Spotlight, and you can simply speak unmuted from the audience. And if you want, you can be completely anonymous. You can even change your name and give us your question in chat privately to me, and I will read it out. There are all kinds of ways we can support you. We're fine with meandering questions. You can share all of what's here, and we'll see in what way we move into part of it or have ways of holding all of it. And in speaking it, you might find what your question is. Do you want to come up here?
Well, oh,
Go ahead.
Ricardo, go for it if you have a question.
Thank you.
Well, have you paid for a question yet? Sorry
This
to
is
be
part of our MeWe team, so she's so yeah. Ricardo, did you have a
I
general
can make an
question, or did you
arrangement
want? Yeah,
if I can.
I'm not sure what you mean by an arrangement, but I'll put in chat. Yeah, we request that you pay before you come up to ask a question.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can start with Anissa and then come to yours. Yeah, we'd love to support you. Anissa, are you ready? Did you want to come up?
Well, I'm still in my pajamas, so maybe I'll just do by voice if that's okay.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Messy hair, all of that good stuff still. Yeah, because I was eating breakfast while I was listening, and I just haven't been willing to tear myself away to actually get ready for the day because it's just been so full of goodness. But my question is about involving, or maybe evolving. Maybe that was a happy accident there. I'm going to be forced to move in a few months. It's kind of unexpected, and it's something that I want to do. I do want to move, but I am worried about it because I've been very lucky to have stable housing most of my life. And I've been in this home for like 15 years. So to transition somewhere new is very daunting, and I'm going to be just in a more unstable situation than I'm used to being in. I have a new job that I'm working through. So I just have some doubt, even though I know that journaling would be helpful and meditation would be helpful and being more mindful will be helpful. I have all of these tools in front of me, and I've learned more today. I guess I was hoping for maybe if there was any more insight into having these unstable physical complications that are coming up. And I also just really want to hear from everyone because I selfishly want to have answers.
Not selfish. It's for you, and it supports it. Yeah, and it supports everyone. Yeah, and I think that in asking a question too, your energy gets to vibrate more directly with our energy. So it alone, simply asking the question and allowing us to be here with you. Hopefully our aim in our panels is that it is supportive. Their energies dancing together. Yeah, so letting everyone check in. And when you say months, you don't know the exact timing of the months, probably, right?
Well,
It's a slightly floating time because you don't know when your space will.
Slightly floating. We did think the hard deadline was October, so it's not like I have to be out in 30 days. It's nothing drastic like that, or it's more of just I'm feeling more nervous about it. I've become quite comfortable where I am, so to be unearthed in such a way is just different for me, since, like I said, I've been so lucky to be in one place for so long.
Yeah.
Anissa,
Oh, and just everyone, I'm going to time us now. So because we know we have another question that might be coming in. So
go ahead, DoveLight, please.
It's okay. I didn't want to take out if you were already talking. Okay. Anissa, you're an earth angel. You're a blessing. Your energy is of love. Wherever you go, however you do, you're bringing the vibration of love because that's part of your core essence. So please understand or acknowledge that you bring change in this world just by being yourself. I can see that there is a high possibility that you will have abundance and prosperity in this new move, in this new place. Even the possibility of having new friendship or soul, part of your soul group that you're meant to grow and expand. However, it is very important that you prioritize your self-care while going through it, because I feel like all this change might be affecting your health in a way that might not be necessary if you integrate tools as breathing, calming down, processing. What I'm picking out from here very strongly with the cards, it's there might be some challenges in the move that you might be feeling like overwhelmed or overexhausted, and that energy needs to be clear, because sometimes we are so powerful manifesting, so powerful energetically, that we can co-create our, how is it called in English, the self-sufficient prophecy, when you kind of believe something too much that you actually make it to happening.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, but it's more than self-sabotage. It's something like you believe it so much that actually ended up happening because you're conscious, your subconscious. Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. So what they're telling me is that go back to the practices that nourish yourself for this move. Always ground yourself in what is the reason that I genuinely want to do this move? What is the impulse? What am I passionate about? To clear all this energy of worry, of anxiety, of concern, because I feel like because we're focusing too much on the fear or the negative part of the move, we might be creating a situation where we might feel defeated. And in this time, you are not meant to transform by being defeated. You are meant to transform by being of love, by having courage. So I will highly recommend you to go back to your practices of self-care and align your energy and do your structure, do a plan, a realistic plan, but then you have to trust the divine. You have to visualize yourself being positive. You have to plan everything is going to trust. Okay, otherwise I feel like the energies are like so something not so nice might be creating because out of fear. That's the advice that I'm getting from it, just to shift the frequency of the energy for the co-creation. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, DoveLight. Yeah. I have health issues because of a genetic disorder. So like I've been thinking about the actual physical move as well. So thank you for bringing that up about having to be extra mindful about just also the physical aspects of it as well. So I appreciate that reminder. That's very good. And thank you so much for your words.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. So that's just 2.5 minutes. So I'm giving everyone just a warning at 2.5 minutes. It's great. All right.
Would you mind if I say
Nope.
something?
Hi. Sorry,
Hi, my
Nina.
name is
No,
Nina
sorry.
Garnett.
Sorry, Nina, if you could wait. So I didn't set that up as well for this panel. So what we generally ask is that if you can hold whatever comes through you that might be for the person that asked the question, hold it until we're done answering their question. And then if you want, you're welcome to private chat them and ask if they'd like to hear what came through you. And please honor whatever they share. If they say yes, go ahead and share. And if they prefer no, just trust that they're full. Maybe they've heard so much from all of us and they don't want more, and trust that it came through you for another reason. This is a great opportunity to check and see what does come through you, and we just ask if you do hold that. Go ahead, Drasmin.
So I just, want to highlight something outside of the physical body. Astrologically, Saturn is in retrograde in Pisces right now till October, and you mentioned October. So, and also Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. So both of those energies simultaneously is asking for inner evaluation and restructuring. So, just being gentle with yourself with the process, just as DoveLight said, and recognizing that right now there is that deep internal decluttering that's happening from the subconscious, a reevaluation of routine, structures, habits, so on and so forth, so that, once the planets go direct in October, yes, there's a shadow period, you can really go into that new space, the next stage of your evolution with that greater, deeper awareness of like, what are the new structures and routines and habits that you want to carry forward into this new chapter. So really time over the next few months, especially if you're looking at big external changes coming up, preparing the internal spaces in mind, heart, body, spirit, and soul, so that you can just be in attunement and ease into that next stage.
Okay, thank you for bringing in the astrological stuff. I had no idea, so that's really poignant too. Interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just did a reading on my YouTube channel about it. So that's there if anybody's interested. And it just helps, to know what's like cosmically supporting us, because it does impact us. We are starlight beings.
Oh, kitty. Yeah, thank you, Drasmin. I appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, Nis, I thought it was particularly significant that Winston just came in here and just started crawling all around my computer and is meowing. So there's something. Yeah, see, there he goes. So he's got a message for you. Hey, I don't know, Stacey, did you want to go, or do you want me to just go since I started talking? It's up to you. I'll go. Okay, yeah. Well, so Winston, I know your cat is so important to you, and thinking about your cat and the transition, and I know you've wondered about possibly having another animal. So I can weave that into what my share is. Oh goodness, I was thinking about, people were talking about the 60-second practice earlier, and 1 minute. And so I encourage you to create some brief practice for yourself where you imagine things going well, you let yourself see and feel into things going well, and that you can see and feel yourself going to a place that really is good for you, that really supports you and is nurturing of you. I know you've talked about in the past about whether you'd have a roommate or live on your own. I want to encourage you that I think probably having a roommate is better, and putting a lot of care and attention into who that roommate will be. And I was thinking about the person that you live with now, the other person, and whether they might move with you. And he stopped my timer. Hey, sweetie. And Winston does not ever do this. This is really unusual, Anissa. So there are definitely some cat messages. So I would talk with your cat and see what messages your cat has for you and how he can support you in this process, and just connecting with him. I know that he's in his own, like moving towards his own transition. So yeah, all that floating in here. But yeah, if the other person can move with you. So I was looking at what are the things that you could have that are stable while the other things change. What are the things you could have stable that are supportive of you while things change? So I believe that you get a lot of support and a lot of friendship with the other person, one of the other people that you live with. Yeah, so what are they planning to do, and will they be nearby, and how you can just continue a connection. And if I just imagine having a roommate will be in a supportive thing, and so putting in care and utilizing your resources to help you find a good person to be with. And asking for help, letting people support you. I think there are tons of people in this community that would love to support you in the process of getting ready and moving. And Drasmin spoke earlier, and I have these big lessons too of learning that we don't need to do it all ourselves, that it's actually so unhealthy to think we need to do so much ourselves. And in particular, it would be so physically unhealthy for you to aim to do more than is good. Yeah, and you don't have to do it perfectly. And that you don't have to clean everything up and sort through everything and all those kinds of things before you move. There's time and there's space. That's what's here for me.
Thank you, Lorelei. Yeah, I have been beginning the conversation with the one roommate to see if they want to room with me together, and it's looking like that would be a positive or a possibility. So yeah, I definitely think you're on track with that. So that makes sense. And yeah, what can I keep stable? And I guess I'm worried about my cat's health. Like I don't want to uproot him too badly where the move causes him issues. So yeah, having a conversation with him, and thanks for the love, Winston.
Yeah, and then Winston came by, to support you in that. All right, Stacey.
So what comes to me for you is that, being in your place for 15 years and having this come to you kind of as a shock and quickly, I find that in those situations when I've been in them, it's important to connect with you and out like what's the next place, what's there for you. Some of these things happen and not our conscious choice to do this. It's because there's something waiting for you right in the other place that you're going to be, and it's going to open up more doors. So I would just encourage you to focus on the thoughts of what are the doors that are opening for me now as I move into this new space to live, and what is waiting there for me that's going just to help with my growth, going to continue to present me with new opportunities, whether that's for healing your body. Maybe there's a practitioner that's for you there. Maybe there's a new community that is in your immediate living space right around you, neighbors who you're going to be able to connect with. I kind of call these things when we don't make the choice and it gets kind of made for us. It's kind of like the cosmic 2x4 upside the head. It's like, hello, you haven't been doing, it's time to move forward. So, focus and connect with what are the energies and the opportunities that are waiting there for you, and why is, the underlying reasons of why this move is being forced.
Thank you, Stacey. Yeah, I'll focus more on the open possibilities, the doors to open. I haven't been thinking that way at all. It's always been about this closing this chapter instead of what's the next one. So thank you for putting that in my mind and heart.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look forward to that. I want to hear about your journey.
Great, and I think DoveLight had something else.
Oh yeah, I'm glad that Stacey talked about the processing, because it is normal when you're moving and changing your life to, oh my God, so many emotions at the same time. So allow yourself to process them and just to be present for yourself is very important. They just keep telling me that don't let fear overwhelm you. Feel it, acknowledge it, like process it, journal it, break something, do a ritual like a candle, which releasing your fear, but don't let it overwhelm you, because what they're telling me that in a soul level, you are meant to be your best friend right now. This is when you actually can put in action. I am my best friend. I might not know how this is going to end up, how is it going, but I'll be there for me every step of the way. Be your best friend. This is a good opportunity to show self-love, because they're telling me that the best option, one of the best options to go through this situation is go back to your intuition, to fill your own cup, so you feel safe and trust. And there might be other possibilities, even other type of choices that you might do on the way. But if you do it from a place of love, for that you are with you, you feel safe with you, it will open you new ways. It will give you like this bravery that you already have, but it's going to outshine more. So regarding what's the outcome, you will be there for you. And that's a gift. That's a precious gift that you can actually embrace in this new adventure if you choose to do so.
Thank you so much.
All right, great. Great. Thank you, Anissa, so much for jumping in and letting us support you and letting us know about what's happening, and so we can energetically support you along your journey as you are learning also to ask for explicit support as that appears. Oh, let's see. I'm doing weird. I thought I was pasting one thing and I don't know what I'm pasting in chat right now. I'm putting in chat. Let's start that again. Yeah, you are very welcome. Practitioner's information is in the chat. Okay, let's see. Ricardo, were you still wanting to ask a question? We want to support you in that, and I need to make sure that my practitioners can stay later as we've gotten a little late, and maybe we can simply just support you briefly without you jumping into pay too, and it'll be just shorter. Yeah, Ricardo, are you here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I can do that. Well, my question is, I just want to quickly throw out there, I went through a transformation within myself 3 years ago, and it involved the quantum physics, and it was the best experience of my life. Since then, I've gone through so many challenges, and I feel like something has dimmed, and I'm fighting so hard to keep that light within me and not let it go. There's a lot of changes happening with my job, and I'm letting go of what I am aware is not working for me in people, in my job. So I'm moving forward, and I'm fearing some things, but I'm also excited, and I'm trying to let the excitement overshine. But there's a lot going on inside of me, and I just wanted to, just get a little bit of feedback on that.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, so we're gonna be ending just in a few minutes. So yeah, we're just contributing this to you. Thank you so much for asking and letting us share. And yeah, so practitioners, anyone that has something to share, and we're just gonna be super brief here, aim for just a minute or so. And then I know Stacey's gonna close out, and then Drasmin. And yeah, as we're all having to end on time, we're very close to on time.
So what's coming to me, Ricardo, as you are masculine body, I highly recommend the group. I don't know if you've heard of them, Sacred Sons. And they're a really powerful men's group that I have been following for a few years. And in Witness, it has just helped me heal my wounds around the masculine. I have recommended many brothers and many men to the men's group. So I encourage you to look and tap into that as a resource for you. They have a lot of free content. They have, and I recommend this group for, all beings, just in witness or in active participation. There's something about being in the energy field of masculine who are really doing the work. And something that came through while you were speaking was they have a group for men called Fight Club, where you can express your energy in motion. And sometimes, especially as you're going through your spiritual awakening and your journey, you're also deprogramming a lot of these ideas of what man means in today's society. And I'm specifically referring to the repression of energy and emotion, to the repression of expression. And sometimes when you go through those deep spiritual awakenings, as a quantum alchemist doing a lot of quantum work, that starts to come up. But then the mental programming, I was talking earlier about how the mind is a supercomputer, will start to crush. And then you start feeling this like push and pull. And then that takes you back into those old patterns and habits, even though you're actively working against that. It's like this tug of war happening within you. And I have found that in brotherhood, that can really help just help you be seen, be validated, and be supported from the mindset of empowered embodied masculines.
Thank you, Jasmine. Stacey, is there something you wanted to share? And then I wanted to give you a chance to share all your information before you have to take off.
Yeah, thank you. Other than Give yourself the space that you can, when you can, even in those short chunks that we talked about earlier, to give yourself a minute even to breathe and get grounded and allow yourself to let go of what's going away in the job, and again looking forward to what might be coming in that is going to perhaps even more powerful and more on your path, and to trust that.
Great. And then Stacey, did you want to go ahead and just share again your name, what you do, how people can reach out to you, you're special, and all that, so it's in the recording?
Sure. Again, it's Stacey Freeman. I'm at staceywellness.com. I offer vibrational sound therapy at 20% off for anyone who's attending on the panel here today. You can book on the links, my Calendly, you want to do it online, or you can contact me through the website. And then I also help people with nutrition and body stuff as well, so that we can get you grounded and help to get the stress and anxiety and just kind of turn that down and create the chill factor.
That's great. And the staceywellness.com, Stacey is spelled Stacey. Great. Thank you,
Why, yes,
Stacey.
correct.
Yeah, thank you so much
Thanks,
for being with us,
Lola.
Stacey. Yeah. We gotta
I'm so
plan to
happy to be
sound.
here.
We gotta plan some sort of sound panel, like some sound healing panel. It'd be lovely to have you and some other healers. And yeah, that Drasmin, it sounds like could contribute to that. Yeah, it'd be great.
Yes,
And you know,
please.
it can be light language with DoveLight, like all kinds of things, right? So the three of us together again, and more of us too. Yeah, so DoveLight, anything you wanted to share with Ricardo?
As soon as he start talking, my wife went off, my dog started barking, so definitely a disruptive energy. A lot of need to be expressed. Deeper, I'm picking up ancestral healing as well. There is something that you are passing through this moment that is related to an ancestral healing, but overall, it's reconnecting your soul to your body. It's like your life, it's filtered and escape, but and it doesn't have to be this way. A lot of empaths, one of the most beautiful gift the empaths have is the ability to keep mastering boundaries, not victim mentality. A lot of empaths, not all of them, but some of them be like, oh, I'm always picking up everything. No, it's not my fault. I can get this and that. Oh, in this part of the journey. But it's also about remembering to put your boundaries, to own your power, to get into a connection with your soul. Adversity, I have to accept the challenges are the best way to learn. So it is in your soul highest interest to acknowledge that the things you are passing through at this moment are the seed that will bring the gift or the wisdom that it is of generally feeling and passing through these things. Just as a short note, because then I start picking up a lot of stuff, but highly recommended to allow yourself time to speak up your voice, to process your feelings, to find a healthy outlet, to let it out. This is what they keep hearing, let it out, let it out, let it out. So it doesn't diminish your inner life, because you're holding on to many things that perhaps are not even yours, and you don't have to. You can say no. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, DoveLight. And Ricardo, some of what was here for me is I have a question of whether these things may have been showing up for you. Is I think you broke through a lot of things, and I believe then you felt more of a sense of maybe not isolation, aloneness, but a sense of being not as crowded, not as full with the other people and the other energies that you were surrounded by before, and that maybe there was some fear or shame of how dare you be ahead of others? How dare you allow more in for yourself than you had before, than others told you were worthy of and that you deserved? Some fear of getting ahead and the negative impact it might have on others. So I just wonder that there are some subconscious beliefs around those things that got in your way and that had you pile more things on to have you be more full, more crowded, more, and push yourself down to be with where others were. Does any of that resonate?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so some things, yeah, so some things you can do about this is, so look at other beings around you. It might be if there's a child in your life, or looking at the flowers outside or an animal that walks by, and connecting to the inherent goodness of those other beings. Of course, you know the
Mhm.
goodness in them. And so bringing some of that awareness you have of them and bringing some of that into you. And that's true of them. That must also be true of me, my soul.
I I love that. I love that you just said that because I have a goddaughter in my life and I spend as much time as I can with her, and she fills me up with life, and she makes me feel like, you know, nothing else matters when we're together. We're just two kids having a great time. And what the what the person before you shared really also resonated with me because she spoke about ancestral empath, and that's something that I also I feel way too much, and I do carry a lot, and I never thought of it that way, that I might be carrying things that are not mine. So that's why earlier I asked about detachment and whether that's uh, also a form of spirituality, because I feel like that's what I'm going through, what I need to focus and practice. So thank you, guys.
You're so welcome. Thanks so much for letting us know you had something you wanted to share and something you wanted to let us support you and support others. Great. Well, I know we've got a dash in just a moment. Drasmin, do you want to go ahead and share about you and all your offering, and then DoveLight, and let's get you unmuted.
Thank you again, everyone, for being here today, for listening live, tuning in on the replay. So blessed to be a part of this panel. I am Drasmin. I'm an artist, a writer, a soul purpose activator, trauma-informed empowerment coach, multidimensional sound healer, and shamanic guide. I offer Reiki and tarot sessions live over Zoom as well as in person here in Eugene, Oregon. My current special through the month of July, my readings offerings are about 70% off. I also create self-guided downloadable content that is self-paced to empower your being experience, spiritual poetry art, and a book on meditation poetry. I grabbed it. It's a little tiny book. And I also offer intensive coaching. Excuse me, I'm losing my words. Coaching intensives to shift you from surviving to thriving in mind, heart, body, spirit, so that you can fully step into your most authentic, aligned self. I do offer a free 15-20-minute consult for new beings every 2 months. So we can just meet, talk, ask questions, and you can feel into my energy. You can connect with me on Facebook, Aleph Drasmin. My website is www.ddom.spa.com. All of my links are on my Facebook page, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of it, art. And my direct email is Drasmin, my name, dream, like the dreams, and then works, like we're doing work, but not all the time. We don't want to be workaholics here. So DrasminDreamWorks@gmail.com. It has been my absolute pleasure and a blessing to be here as a human, as a leader, as just, a being in this experience with you, sharing my wisdoms, listening to the wisdoms of the other like-minded leaders here. I send you love and blessings on your empowered journey through this human experience.
Thank you so much, Drasmin. And I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, and matchmaker. Read your soul, read your energy, and support you to be in alignment on your path to move through blocks and lessons, be in alignment with your purpose and express your purpose in the world. Connect with other beings that empower you and empower them to be authentic and to share our energy, our spirit in the world. You can find out more about me at intuitiveeyereading.com, matchmakingsoulmates.com. And you can find out more about all of our events at miwifairs.com. We've got 2 more events today. I've got a matchmaking drop-in event, and then we have a practice circle at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. East Coast time, where you get to jump in the pool and practice your intuition with peers with support of several practitioners. You might be practicing in a particular way with cards or some other type of practice, and you simply may know that you're intuitive or suspect that you're intuitive. It's a great opportunity in a safe container to express what comes through you and get feedback. And so you can get more in alignment and learn how to listen in more subtle ways to the awareness and the insight that comes through you. So thanks so much for joining us here at MeWe Fairs. Thrilled to do this together in community. Thanks those of you that ask questions and everyone else supporting and those of you on the panel. And yeah, we're going to plan a sound healing panel. So thank you so much, everyone.
Laureli, you forgot about me again.
Oh, I forgot about you. I'm so sorry. DoveLight, go ahead, DoveLight. DoveLight, yay! You jumped in. Thank you for telling me. Go.
It's okay. I just wanted to honor because if people see the recording, it's very simple. You know, I'm just a regular person. Find me in DoveLightOracle.com, and if you can have 20% discount with the coupon summer for any of my readings or any healing session of choice. You know, the readings will help us to see where the energy is going, and any of the healing sessions will help it to transmute it, to change it, to move it forward. And one of the things that I love so much, they're talking about now, so it's light language. I'm a divine messenger songstress. I have the ability to create songs with information that comes down that pertains to your soul. So this is one of the favorite things I love to do. I just don't have time to write everything that I do. Okay, thank you, everybody. To me, that's good enough. Thank you.
Thank you, DoveLight. Yeah, so DoveLightOracle.com, right above your head right there. And 20% off with the code SUMMER. Thank you, DoveLight. Thank you, all of us.